Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, like this video. That helps me to keep making videos. So and I would appreciate it majorly. So, I saw the article. At first I saw it at the Daily Mail. Then I went over to the New Yorker and read a great deal of it about this, the latest woman who's claiming that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her. Although, I think that's how that's what she calls it. But the Daily Mail calls it rape. And actually, technically, under the terms, if it was true, that's what it would be called because, it was forcible penetration. Not to get too graphic and stuff, but it's a long story. I'll try to, paraphrase it as best as I can. And I never heard of this woman before, didn't recognize her. I don't know how old she was. She was 52 at the time in 1995, 96. That's basically 25 years ago. So she would be 77. Today. So her name is E Jean Carroll. She's a columnist. She's had a column with Ellie, E-L-L-E. I don't know what that is, a magazine for like 26 years. At the time, she had her own TV show called Ask E Jean. And it was on the America's Talking network, which was a brand new network that was actually launched by Roger Ailes. And eventually it was like it became MSNBC. That station. And Roger Ailes is she has a book coming out. And in this book, I even forget the name of the book, but she goes over the 20 most hideous men that she ever encountered. And Roger Ailes was number 16. The number 20, the last, is Trump, Donald Trump. And so she describes this encounter she had with him at Bergdorf. It's something else. I've already forgotten. And there's no way I can go back and forth. Bergdorf something. It's a very luxurious, high-end, I think, department store in New York City. It's like one block south from Trump Tower. I don't know if it's there today. I assume it is. That she was at, just about to leave, and to exit like a revolving door, some kind of door, and he spotted her. He recognized her because she's on TV. He says, "You're the advice lady." And then, just starts making chit chat with her. And I guess you could say hitting on her. He was married with Marple Maples at the time. He was 50 years old. The reason I know she's 52 is because according to her story, he asked her, "How old are you?" So he asks her for help, some advice on buying a woman a gift, and she makes a suggestion. How about a handbag? How about a hat? At some point, he says, how about lingerie? And they go upstairs. They go up the escalator to the lingerie department. She goes into a fair amount of detail in terms of, she gives some caveats and explains up front that she didn't go to the police. She does say that she told two people who are actually both, even though they're not named in the New Yorker. And so this article she did an article with the New Yorker, but she has a book coming out later, and she's on the cover of the New Yorker, which is a weekly magazine. But it wasn't, what's his name? It wasn't Farrow. I forget the dude's first name who usually writes these kinds of stories. So, but she had told two friends of hers who, at least one of them was a journalist, magazine writer, morning show anchor woman. I believe it's a woman, and the other one is a New York anchor woman. I might not have those descriptions perfectly, and according to her, the first one. So they must both be fairly, well known and famous, I would think, at least within the New York market. The first one encouraged her to go to police and said that she would go with her. The other one warned her, the New York anchor woman warned her that, Trump has 200 lawyers and he'll bury you. So that's one of the reasons she gives, I think, for, reasons for why she didn't ever go to the police or ever tell anybody else other than these two women. The New Yorker did speak to these two women, even though they're not identified, and they confirmed her account. I wonder if we'll ever hear from these two. I mean, this is a little different. The White House has already responded to this because it's in the New Yorker and it's going to be in a book soon, and they deny it and say it's complete falsehood and that it's just put out there to make the president look bad. You know, she actually mentions, you know, in terms of validating her story, would that store Bergdorf's, I wish I knew that full name. It's a bummer. I forgot it though. Would they have security of, you know, footage of her at, you know, at the front door going up the escalator with Trump at the time? They might have at some point, but they don't. According to, I guess, the New Yorker had already checked with them to see if they did, and they don't have video from that time, even though they may have had security cameras. I'm sure they did in 1995. So they go up the escalator to the next floor, to the lingerie department. He grabs something off the rack that is a see-through type thing, you know, bodysuit, and tells her to or asks her to try it on. She jokingly says, "You try it on," and there's sort of a back and forth. And I think he grabs her arm and leads her to the dressing room. She actually even indicates, typically in that department store, because it's so high end, to get into a dressing room, you normally need an attendant to actually unlock it and let you in. There is no attendant there. She actually goes through, you know, an explanation, which she says is very unusual for that particular store because it's so high end that normally as soon as you enter a section, particularly the lingerie section, you're met by an attendant to help, and a sales associate to help you. So, but she said the moment she gets into the dressing room, he basically closes the door behind him and lunges at her, and, you know, immediately unzips his pants, unzips his fly, and I think with his other hand pulls down her tights lifts up her dress coat and pulls down her tights. And she says he forcibly penetrates her. You know, she literally says she can't tell if it was full or half penetration, and she says she doesn't know if he ejaculated. And she says the encounter lasted approximately 3 minutes in her mind. At some point, she's able to, according to her, free herself and run out of the dressing room and out the store. She can't remember if she saw an attendant as she was, you know, exiting the store. And that's the best I can recall. I mean, it's a long article like the New Yorker usually has. And I think I described it as close as possible to the way she described it. You know, I'm paraphrasing naturally. So she says she has kept that dress. I don't know what that means, though. I don't know if that means like she's kept the same dress in the exact state, you know, from the time that incident happened, or she just has the dress. You know, I mean, it brings back memories of, like, you know, the blue dress with Monica Lewinsky and you know, President Clinton, obviously, which did him in. I seriously doubt that it's and like she said, I mean, according to her story, she you know, she doesn't know if he ejaculated or not. So, like I said, the White House denies this. You know, it says it's complete falsehood, and it just it never happened. It doesn't make any sense. And but, you know, the thing that's a little different than this is the fact that somebody's accusing him. She calls it sexual assault. At least it's called that way in the New Yorker article, or maybe in her book. I guess she's talking there. The article is talking to her. It's not her book in the article, but she calls it sexual assault. To the best of my knowledge, not rape, but forcible penetration. The definition of that is rape. So that's a little different, you know. It's just an accusation, obviously. But I wonder if we'll ever hear from these other two persons that aren't named that basically she supposedly told. And they're supposedly famous persons. One of them is, you know, like I said, a writer, journalist, magazine writer, author of books, and a personality or an anchor on you know, on morning TV. The other one is a New York anchor woman. I don't know. We'll see. But that is the story there, man. All right, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. 10 seconds. Later, man.